Welcome back to Jake's Amp Garage. And on this video I thought we'd do something just a little bit different. Rather than the normal tech stuff, I thought I'd give you guys a background story on this bad boy right here. Now every piece of equipment that comes through this shop has a background story, some more interesting than others. This guy's no exception. For those of you who don't know, this, and this is my opinion of course, this is the most iconic rock amp ever built. It's a Marshall JCM 800, and I've got the matching 4x12 1960 cab below it. Now some people will agree with that statement, and some other people are just plain wrong. What are you going to do? It is what it is. Anyway, the owner had asked me to go up to the Central Coast with him to give my assessment on the amp and the cab before negotiating a deal. So on Saturday morning, we jumped in the car and drove up to the Central Coast, which is an absolutely beautiful part of the state. It's about 2 hours north of Sydney. We met up with the then owner, who had already fired it up about an hour or so prior to us arriving, so it was nice and warm and ready to rock. All we needed to do was plug in the guitar and let rip. Well, we did plug in the guitar, but it didn't rip. It whistled, it cried, it complained, and then it shut down. I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, he hasn't plugged the cab into the amp. Shut her off. Too late at that point. About 5 or so seconds after it was powered off, you could smell it in the air. The smell of barbecued components. And sure enough, when I took a look behind the amp and the cab, which were pushed right up against the wall, there was no speaker cable that I could see. He hadn't plugged the amp into the cab, or the cab into the amp I should say. He looked gutted. What are you going to do? And what a shame. We negotiated a much lower asking price than what he wanted. He didn't negotiate. He needed the money, and he took the deal. Threw the amp and the cab into the car, drove it back down to Sydney, where it's been sitting here waiting for me to go through it. Now I was expecting to do a service job on this amp, because he'd used it as a gig amp since 2010, but had never had it serviced. So a service job, a good clean and a thorough check over. The only thing I've done is I've looked in through the top vent here, and for a 20-year-old amp, it's got the obligatory 1-inch layer thick of Marshall dust, along with a beer stain, a bourbon stain, maybe a whiskey stain. Whiskey maybe not so much. Marshall owners don't drink whiskey. I think they are more so bourbon, and definitely beer. So it's in need of some attention. That's beside the barbecued nut stuff. It was going to need some attention anyway. So this is going to be a long-term project. It's going to be in here for a while until I go through it. So what I am going to do on the next video, which will be part 2, I don't know how many parts this series will have. It'll have quite a few parts, given how much work this thing is going to need now. Part 2, I'm going to crack the chassis open, and just so you guys can see what it looks like when you run an amp without a load. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be informative, entertaining, and if anything, you can take away from that what you do to your amp if you don't plug a cab into it when you try and run it. You should be very cognizant when you're setting up your amp. Plug that speaker cab in first, otherwise it'll fry its nuts, or barbecue its nuts. What a damn shame. Anyway, it is what it is. It'll make for an interesting video series. I hope you guys can join me on that, which will be part 2, which will be coming up shortly. Thanks for watching this. I hope you got some value out of it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe if you can, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. So long and bye for now.